So it has a brew. It's actually far too hot for a brew. I think probably at the moment it's probably about 30 degrees in this room. It's stupidly humid. It's really not great weather to be inside doing this, but the wind's a little bit too strong, but it's not cooling enough, so it's like I've decided to do it inside. I'm going to sweat like buckets. I'm working on a new QWERTY as well, which is pretty good. It's to do with the Simon Pegg films that he did with, I think, Paul is, well, no, hang on, Shaun the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and I don't know, I think that might be Paul. I'm not entirely sure what that's supposed to be. But you get the idea. I can't remember what the actual thing's called. I think it's called Cornetto, because they sold a series of DVDs called Cornetto, which included all three of them. And obviously they all had the Cornetto joke, which we all know. If you've ever seen any of those films, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's kind of where that came from. I think it's really quite good. So you may have noticed there's some new graphics. So if you look at my main channel page, there's some funky new graphics. That was courtesy of Josh Fry. Absolutely fantastic work. I think it looks great. I was looking at getting some graphics work done, and there was a few people that said, oh yeah, they might do it. And there was kind of ins and outs. And then some guy just said, oh, I really want to do some more graphics work. So I approached him and said, look, I really want this, doing. I said, have you got any portfolio of the stuff you've already done? And he did, and it looked really good. So I was like, do you know what, let's go for it. And it looks really good, and the price is really good. And yeah, so I'm going to try and adapt the design he's got for a business card. You can see the rough design that I've done at the moment on the screen now. I think that's alright. That's going to be for Eurogamer and stuff like that. Not a proper business card. One for giving out to potential subscribers and things like that. Microsoft apparently is going to merge all its versions of Windows into one unified operating system. So that it sort of spans across all screens everywhere. Now, the Verge article that's on it, there's a few other articles that kind of link in terms of sourcing. The Verge article that goes on about it basically states that what they want to do is they want to amalgamate Windows Phone and Xbox into one unified interface. Which they've kind of done already, but they don't want to go to the route of it all looking the same. They want it all to be exactly the same thing across the board. It's going to be the same operating system, it's going to be the same across the board. So that they only have to create one thing, and yeah, it might have multiple versions in terms of Windows licensing and stuff like that, but it will be the same thing across the board. Now, this in of itself is a really good idea, because it means that Microsoft can cut, when the amount of people they've laid off recently has been ridiculous. They've laid tons of people off. But yeah, they can have one team that does it all, and they can have less people just working on one thing, and that's all they do. They don't have to span it across Xbox, Windows Phone, and Windows. It means it's good for developers because they can develop one thing, and it's going to be the same across all platforms, which is going to be really great. And potentially it could be really good for customers, because it means they buy one thing and that thing then becomes available across all platforms within the Windows kind of thing. So say for instance you had you bought an app within Windows Phone, and it also had a desktop version and a games console version. You pay for it once and it's across all devices. That's really quite cool, and it's a really good idea. Now, I'm surprised Apple haven't gone along this kind of route, because Yosemite isn't really that kind of... I mean, it's more kind of amalgamating the two operating systems into one, but it's still not there. Loads of companies have tried to do it in the past. We had, say, Apple are trying to slowly do it. Microsoft have been slowly trying to do it over the past couple of years, but not really done it properly. Ubuntu had a go, but it didn't really work because they didn't really have enough money, not enough people backed it. They were going to do some sort of phone thing, not enough OEMs have really got on board with it. It's kind of been a bit of a flop. So yeah, Ubuntu hasn't really done it either, and I don't think any other platform has done anything. So yeah, nobody's really actually managed to do it yet. I'm surprised that some third party hasn't done it. They've just somebody else has come along and done it completely their own way, because you kind of would think that this is kind of where people want to go. I mean, most of these companies have been trying to slowly do something, but they've not actually done it. They've just kind of been trying to pass under the wire, and it's not really worked, and yeah. So it will be interesting to see how they get on. Microsoft did lay a load of people off reasonably recently. I think it was 160,000 employees they laid off, which is a bit shit. I did think about possibly applying for a job there, but I don't think that's much. I don't think A, there's much point doing so, because A, I probably won't be able to get in, and B, if they're going to lay a load of people off randomly, then you don't really want that, because you want job security and stuff like that. Now, the only other piece of news I want to talk about, which is going to go on for a while, is a new thing called the Voluntary Copyright Alert Program, or VCAP. Now, VG247 had the article, I think possibly originally, and the title of the article was called Britain Just Decriminalised Online Game Piracy. It was a kind of a misleading title. But what is going to happen under the Voluntary Copyright Alert Program is they'll send you 4 letters. Now, it's 4 letters. And then after that, they won't bug you anymore. They won't prosecute you anymore. They won't do anything. They won't cut your internet. They're just going to leave it. Now, the reason for this is basically because ISPs and the BPI couldn't come to an agreement. Now, this is just within the UK. This isn't across, this isn't worldwide. They couldn't come to an agreement as to how to police piracy. They just couldn't do it. ISPs couldn't come to an agreement. The BPI couldn't come to an agreement. The government couldn't come to an agreement. So they just decided, do you know what? Sorry, let's just do this and see what happens. So as opposed to your ISP cutting you off after sending you so many letters, they're not going to cut you off at all. And then the misleading part of the article saying that it's been decriminalised is that piracy is still illegal. So as much as your ISP won't do anything about it, the content creator or the content owner could still sue you if you redistributed the copyrighted content in the first place. Now, the trouble is with that is that it's near as damn impossible to prove. Well, it's impossible to prove if you're not an idiot. So if, for instance, somebody came to me and said, you've been downloading X, I would turn around to them and say, prove that I've been downloading X. They would find out that I have been downloading X on my network, and I would just say to them, well, how do you know somebody else hasn't been doing it on their own machine, on a completely different device that's not even in the house? They could have hacked in or whatever. They could have hacked my WPA2 connection, because that's an easy enough to do, a wireless connection. They could have just hacked it, and they could have done it anyway like that. And that would be my defense. So they can't really really sue you like that unless you are, say, an idiot and you don't kind of know very much about the law. So there's that. So obviously piracy is still illegal. Downloading copyrighted content is kind of illegal. But the illegal part is really sharing the copyrighted content in the first place. Now, the BPI did quite a big write-up about it. Their official article title was UK Creative Industries and ISPs partner in a major new initiative to promote legal online entertainment. So the idea is, as opposed to prosecuting those that illegally download, they're going to have a process whereby they want to educate people as to the benefits of legally downloaded content and how readily available it is and stuff like that. Now, they've spouted out some data, which is quite interesting, but it's also quite misleading. But I'll go on to that. Apparently, almost a quarter, which is 22%, so not quite a quarter, 22% of all content consumed online is infringed copyright. 70% of those surveyed, and this is an Ofcom survey, by the way, so this isn't a survey that the BPI have done. This is an Ofcom survey, so it's kind of is more impartial than if the BPI did it. But 70% of those surveyed in the Ofcom survey had consumed at least some music for free over the 3-month period. Almost a third, 32% of all digital film consumed by those surveyed was infringed copyright. 85% of those who had downloaded or streamed TV programs in the past 3 months did it all for free, which is interesting and also hardly surprising. 50% of those who downloaded or streamed a film during this period downloaded or streamed all films for free. And the Ofcom report also found that there's been 1,077 million illegally downloaded music tracks between May 2012 and May 2013. Now, this is kind of hard. It's not surprising, but it's quite interesting. Now, one thing they don't mention in the report that Ofcom actually did, now this is a report from, I think they announced it in September of last year. I'll try and dig out a link and I'll put it in the description below. There's a really interesting independent article written about on it as well. But basically, the research also found that those who pirated content are more likely to spend money on legal downloads than those that don't. And apparently, over a 3-month period, people that pirate content spent £26 on average on legal goods, and those that didn't illegally download stuff spent £16 on legal content. Now, as I said, ages and ages and ages ago, and I got loads of bloody aggro for it in a video way, way, way back. This is back in the days when I had a shitty camera and I had shitty audio and it was really crap. Was pirators spend more money on content because they try it out, they like it, and they'll go out and buy it. There's also a bit of a social thing surrounding those that pirate. You've got two kind of camps of people that pirate. Those that pirate because they really couldn't give a shit, they just want free content, usually kids, usually 12-year-olds that really can't afford it, so they go out and download it, and likely, the chances are, 9 times out of 10, when they become an adult, they'll actually start paying for it and stuff like that. Then you get the people that do it to try stuff out and are a bit geeky, and they really like the stereotypical kind of geeks like comic books, and they usually work in IT and stuff like that. The kind of types they try and stereotype in The Big Bang Theory, for instance. So, and those kinds of people, I might put myself in that kind of band, that sort of camp, except I don't have the long hair, I don't have a beard, I don't have a neck beard, and I'm not horrendously fat. But you know, the kind of stereotypical thing, obviously I'm not saying that everybody is that kind of, but you know what I mean. IT crowdish kind of people. And those people also include hackers in that. Those people probably are genuinely the best people in the world. Pirators, genuine pirators, those that are on Reddit, those that do ethical hacking, are probably the best people in the world, better than anybody else, better than anybody that abides by the law and all this other stuff. And I tell you for why. It's because they realise what's important in life. They're not necessarily driven by materialistic stuff. They're usually really intelligent people, and they really care about humanity. They're usually the kind of people that are activists for online privacy and stuff like that, and they really don't like big corporations and stuff like that. And those kinds of people will spend more money on goods and services, because either they'll find something and they'll think, wow, this is really great. They'll see something that's not part of the mainstream, so they'll see like an indie band, like a proper genuine indie band that isn't assigned to a label, or they'll see a film that needs kickstartering, or they'll see something that's really good and they really want to give their money to it because they enjoy it, because they're fans of it. What I think is really good about this is that it's kind of point one for common sense, because the fact of the matter is it's impossible to police for a start. And it just doesn't actually help anything at all, because if the BPI knew anything, based on research, as we've just seen, based on research, those that pirate content spend more money on average than those that don't pirate content. So if that was the case, why the hell would you block pirating? Because it brings you more money in. So it just doesn't make any sense. So yes, that's quite good for common sense, and yeah, finally the BPI actually listing. The only couple of things I wanted to end on is that I'm definitely going to Eurogamer. I've actually set up I'm actually booked a ticket, I've actually booked a hotel, I've booked a train, so I'm going to Eurogamer EGX, so I shall see you there. I shall be in London from the Saturday to, I think, something like the 28th or something like that, and I shall be at Eurogamer on the Sunday, and I shall be filming, and I'll try and meet up with some people. If you really want to meet up with me, just at me on Twitter, at AzzyChill, or send me an email, aaron@azzychill.com. I have a new email address and a new domain and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, send me an email, aaron@azzychill.com, and we'll sort something out. We'll meet up, maybe grab some coffee, grab a beer, something like that. We'll go grab something to eat. It depends on how many people actually want to meet me and sort of your age range, because if you're a bit too young, it might be a bit dodgy. And if you're older, obviously it doesn't matter, because we're all adults and it's fine. So I will be going to Eurogamer. I'm also planning on running a giveaway whilst I'm up there, a bit of a Twitter game whereby I'll tweet you my location and you have to then come and physically find me, and if you find me I'll give you a Raspberry Pi or a t-shirt or maybe a Titanfall controller, I don't know, maybe something like that. Something that's roughly about 30 quid in price, I suspect. I should also be taking with me a pirate box. I should be taking that around Eurogamer with me. Probably try and use maybe an old phone and run a pirate box around London/Eurogamer so that people can connect to it and share files and stuff like that, which should be really quite cool. I've applied for CES as of today, which is Thursday. I'm still waiting to hear back whether or not I can actually go, because it's not a case of you just applying or just getting a ticket and going, apparently, as I thought it was. You've either got to be a member of the press, which is got to be, you've got to have actual proper credentials to be a member of the press, or you've got to be part of the industry. Now, I am part of the industry for part of my job, but I'm not going for that purpose, so I can't really officially use that as an excuse to go. I might do later on down the line if they decline my first thing of going as a YouTuber and as a freelance consultant. But so yeah, I'm planning on going to CES. If I get my ticket and I get my pass, then I will be going. But I'm waiting to hear back on that. If I don't end up going, well, I don't know. I'll have to see if I can try and attend some other event. There is a Spiceworks event going on. Well, Spice World I probably will attend, and there's also there's the Misco Expo that's actually happening in October, so I might go to that instead. I'm not too sure yet. We'll have to see about that. Final thing I want to say is that I now have a Patreon page. You can see it down below. Basically, Patreon is kind of like a subscription-based thing. So, I was going on about donations. Basically, everybody said to me that they'd be quite happy to donate. I do need to set up a PayPal thing, but I probably need to set up a separate email for that, because the only PayPal address I have is my current personal email, and I kind of want to separate them out, mainly for things like tax and stuff, because if I get a reasonable amount from it, I'm going to have to speak to the tax man and say, look, this is how much I've got, this is how much I've spent. I won't actually have to give any money to the tax man, but I at least have to show records of what I've had in and what I've had out, because basically what the money is going to pay for is going to pay for equipment and travel and all the bits and pieces related to the business, quote unquote. So yeah, you can check that out down below. Basically, what Patreon is a subscription-based service. So you can put down, say, like $1. It's all in American, which is annoying, but you can put down $1 for every video that I create. Up to a maximum you can set a month. So if I upload 5 videos a month and you don't want to spend more than like $3 a month, it'll cap it at $3 a month. Which is really good, and it's a rolling thing, so you donate a dollar, and every video I upload can be $1. I get $1 per video that I upload. That doesn't mean I'm going to upload more videos, because then the quality would be worse, and I haven't got the time to do that anyway. But yeah, so you can check that out down below. There's not really very many perks there. It's kind of a bit of a BS page for a minute. Check it out. I still need to do a Patreon video. I still need to launch it properly. I still need to do some proper artsy-fartsy stuff for it. But you can check it out. I'd be grateful if you could actually donate, because that would be fantastic, because that can get the ball rolling for equipment, which is what I'm saving up for. I really, really want an XF100 Canon camera, because it is effing amazing. And I also need to get, and I will be getting it anyways, I need an XLR recorder, I need a Rode... Well, I need a reporter mic, and I could do with probably a shotgun mic as well, maybe like an NTG2 for Eurogamer, because it's going to be stupidly noisy. My shitty lapel mic's not going to be any good. The onboard camera mic's not going to be any good. And if I have a cameraman standing like miles away, that's also not going to be very good either. So I need something that's got decent sound, and also so when I'm interviewing somebody, I've got 2 mics there as well. It's going to cost me about 300 quid, so if I can get about 300 quid from that would be really good. I did think about maybe putting my Amazon wishlist in the description, but I don't think there's any point, because no one's going to pay, because most of the stuff that's in there is worth like 100, 200 quid, £1,000. There's nothing, all of it's in there is quite expensive stuff, so there's kind of not really much point, and it's a bit weird. I don't want to beg too much for stuff. I really hated doing the last video, because it was like begging for stuff too much. I didn't want to do that, because it was just kind of too, like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. I don't want to do that to you lot, but the trouble is, because AdSense doesn't pay out anymore, because people use AdBlock, I can't really pay for things anymore. And yeah, I do earn quite a bit of money from my job, but I can't pay for it all. I can't go to Vegas and pay for all the equipment as well. It's kind of like, yeah, I earn enough, but I don't earn enough to subsidise this properly. So yeah, if you could go and check out the Patreon page, set up, automatic donations and stuff like that. And I'll try and sort out some sort of reward scheme. So say if you donate more than $10 a month, I'll give you, I don't know, a t-shirt or something like that. Competition is actually coming up. All I was waiting on was kind of channel art, and that's kind of done now. There's a Facebook page, which I won't link to you yet, because I still need to do some stuff for that. And then once that's done, after this weekend, I think probably about Wednesday next week, after I've come back from Scout Camp, there will be a raffle copter link, and then we'll actually be competition a go. I'll do a competition video. I'll let you know what's actually being, what you can actually win. And yes, that's pretty much going to be it. So I think that's pretty much it. I've rambled on for far too long. But yes, apart from that, I shall catch you in a later video.